All right, what is up? We are live. Obviously, the stories today are Elton Sawyer. Of course, I came out and said that they missed the call. That was after he confidently said Sunday night that they got the call right. They had looked at it and they thought that they got it right. He came out today and said that they missed the call after he looked at it a few times, which why I don't know, man. Like I think two things about it. On one hand, I'm glad he was honest about it and told the truth. On the other hand, I'm upset at the level of incompetence because I was like, NASCAR has more data to go over and analyze than NASA had when they went to the freaking moon. So for them to get that call wrong, and that the whole reason I made that 15-minute long freaking short movie or whatever on Monday was because I was like, if NASCAR said it was good, they obviously have some SMT data that we don't know or we can't see. But for him to come out today and say, yeah, we got it wrong. Oh, shucks, guys. Like that, to go on top of the other incompetent things, the Kyle Busch caution, them throwing the caution for the wet weather tires, that just reeks of just poor management. NASCAR doing a terrible job running the show. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just, it's really not a great look for them. And then Denny Hamlin on social media basically came out and said, yeah, I jumped the restart, deal with it. So apparently now Denny Hamlin thinks himself that he jumped the restart. So he admitted it too. I don't know. Get over it. I think he didn't say deal with it. He did say deal with it. And then I also think he said get over it. Hold on. I've got the, let me not misquote him. I've got it actually saved here. So let's see what he actually had to say about it. Let's see. And Elton Sawyer's was a clip from Sirius XM. So here's what Denny Hamlin had to say about it. I sure wish on Twitter, I sure wish X or whatever it's called now, sure wish someone would come out with a new paint scheme or something. Ain't y'all tired of talking about the same thing for 48 hours now, which I do agree with. It's been nothing but a drama for him. But it's because Elton Sawyer brought it back up. Our team won the race because of the pit crew, not the restart. Y'all are just sour. Get over it. So he did say get over it. Then Brandon Azalina, hopefully I said his name right there, said, bro, you jumped the restart, LOL. And Denny Hamlin said, and question mark. And then Brandon comes back at him with, just wanted to make sure you knew, that's all. And Denny Hamlin said, I was there. So Denny's like, I jumped the restart. I don't care. Which is the best thing you can do in that situation. But he should just put on the black cape, put on the black hat, and just be the bad guy, be the villain. Just be happy that so many people are angry that you won. Because like I said, I will say this. Yes, he jumped the restart. We have seen NASCAR miss stuff like this in the past. We've seen NASCAR enforce stuff like this in the past and take wins away from guys like was it Regan Smith with the yellow line rule or whatever? We've seen them take wins away from people. Denny Hamlin with the tape. I mean, that's as minuscule as it gets. And Kyle Busch, I think, lost the second place out of that one too. So we've seen NASCAR take the wins away. We've also seen NASCAR just say, heck, we missed it. So like I said, NASCAR is consistently inconsistent. But I just want to see Denny be the bad guy and be like, yep, we stole the win. Deal with it. I just want to just embrace the role, man. Just be the bad guy, dude. Like you're the guy that's never going to get over. Just embrace that Ric Flair. Just come out and be the bad guy, and you're there for your fans. And don't worry about the haters talking bad about you. I know it probably gets tedious for Denny Hamlin, people talking bad about him, but it is what it is. Just embrace the role and roll with it, my man. Elton Sawyer, though, back to Elton Sawyer, like that is the poll question. Do you want Elton Sawyer to do all of the interviews for NASCAR from now on? Because apparently Elton Sawyer cannot tell a lie. He's like George Washington cutting down the apple tree there, or the cherry tree, or whatever. George Washington cut down a tree and didn't lie about it. So that's Elton Sawyer. The options are yes or no. I didn't give anybody any way to wiggle out this time. So that'll be interesting. I do still want to see the SMT data, but the fact that Elton Sawyer admitted that Denny Hamlin jumped it, and Denny Hamlin looks like he's confirming that he thinks he jumped it too. I still want to see the SMT data, but it's pretty clear that the SMT data is going to show probably that he jumped it there. So I don't know. And the other question from this is, of course, does NASCAR need to make this an automated deal, right? Where you make the restart zone, it's still a zone, right? You still got to have the two lines there, but do you automate that zone? And if somebody hits the gas before that, like they do on pit road with speeding, right? If somebody hits the gas before that, you have to penalize them. The other thing that is going overlooked, since we're going to scrutinize this, and like I said, the only reason this is a big deal is because Denny Hamlin won, and people hate Denny Hamlin. If somebody else had won, this might not even be an issue. We might be talking about how great Chase Elliott or Dale Earnhardt Jr. or insert whatever driver you pull for. We'd be talking about how great their reflexes are, right? So it becomes a bigger deal because more people than not dislike Denny Hamlin. So that's a huge part of it as well. Let's not pretend like it's not. But that being said, going forward, do we want to take the judgment call out of this? And if we do take the judgment call out of it, I do got some thoughts on that, because if you're going to enforce that very tightly, you need to enforce what Martin Truex Jr. and Joey Logano was doing very tightly too, because they were hanging back to get a rolling start, which would actually give the second and third place cars the advantage there on a restart. So I'm all for it. Okay, let's enforce it. Let's stay on top of it from here on out. I'm with you guys on that. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. But as a caveat to that, I want to see the guys that are laying back and getting a rolling start, a faster rolling start than the leader who earned the lead. The leader should always have the advantage. But these guys laying back and getting a rolling start to get the advantage. So technically, you can, if you want to throw out Denny Hamlin, you can throw out a few people there, and Kyle Larson gets the win. So I mean, there you go. Or you can throw out everybody all the way to 11th place, and Josh Berry gets the win. However you want to do it, you know what I'm saying? So like, we can't just cherry pick what Denny Hamlin did wrong, because Martin Truex laying back and Joey Logano laying back too. That is an issue. NASCAR needs to just police the games on the restarts very tightly. And we didn't have a problem with this in the 90s, because in the 90s and stuff like that, it was single file restarts. And you had the lap cars on the inside, so there's no real comparison. Because I think somebody will go Rain Man over here and tell me when they changed it to double file restarts. Probably late 90s, early 2000s. They went double file restarts, but 80s and 90s they had the single file restart. The lap cars were on the inside. So we don't really have historically anything to compare this to with the play in the games on the restarts. We guys laying back. So that was the big story. But another big story came out. Austin Dillon is getting a new old crew chief. Justin Alexander is going to join back up with Austin Dillon. I want to say all of Austin Dillon's wins have come with is it Justin or Jason? I think it's Jason Alexander. So I want to say all four of Austin Dillon's wins have come with him off the top of my head. And the other big story is just a bunch of gossip and rumors. But apparently people think that Stewart-Haas Racing could sell a charter. That's been floated out there, I think, by Adam Stern. So we'll have to see whether or not that comes true or not. But there's only so much drama I can handle. This has become NASCAR Drama Alert this week. So we'll see how that plays out as well, because I don't necessarily know that Stewart-Haas is going to sell a charter. Or does Dale Jr. buy into them? The Stewart-Haas, which I think is what is going to happen, is Stewart-Haas will go to Chevrolet. If Stewart-Haas goes to Chevrolet, will Dale Earnhardt Jr. buy into them then? Then will it become Earnhardt, Stewart-Haas? You can see a configuration of that. Then there's the rumors, of course, that 2311 will buy it, that Colleague would buy it, or that Trackhouse would buy it. So all kinds of stuff floating out there, whether or not Stewart-Haas downsizes a little bit to get better, essentially. So that's just all kinds of stuff going on. But this is Tuesday, so let's jump into what you guys want to talk about, guys and girls would like to talk about. Harvick's Happy Hour premiere on YouTube just ended. Hey, so there you go. I'm right at the end of Happy Hour. Let's see. That sucks, says Duke Chronic. Also, Eric's video showed Chris Myers tweeting no Easter race or LA Coliseum, but the race in Southern California in the future. Okay, so it looks like NASCAR is closing in on a LA race, so we'll have to see what comes of that. It's close. Who cares? I've enjoyed Happy Hour, says Napa Racing Fan. Once again, NASCAR can't get out of their own way with being inconsistent on a big call, says Joseph Wooten. Yeah, NASCAR is only thing. NASCAR is going to NASCAR, and part of NASCARing is being super inconsistent. If you were SHOR, which charter would you sell off? The 41? I might sell off the 41 charter, but I'd probably keep the 41 number, because that's kind of like Gene Haas's OG original number, I want to say. So they probably keep the 41 number, but they probably sell off the 41 charter, the 41 equipment, and just rebrand one of the other cars to the 41. Unfortunately, NASCAR could care less if they got it wrong. I mean, yeah, part of this is NASCAR likes to drum up conversation about NASCAR, whether it's good or bad. That's a fair argument to make. The only difference between now when NASCAR makes a mistake and back in the day when NASCAR makes a mistake, NASCAR would never even acknowledge or talk about it. They would just be talking about the next race. They had such an iron grip on the media that they controlled the narrative. So that's the only real difference in what you see today compared to the past as well. Now with social media and all that, anybody can talk about whatever they want to talk about. NASCAR can't control everybody like they did back in the day. So Elton Sawyer had to go out there and answer the questions. And I don't know if I would have told that, Elton. That's like a expression in the South when somebody says something stupid. I don't know if I would have told that, Elton. So that's all I got to say about that. I appreciate his honesty, but I don't know if I would have told that. Maybe 5 or 10 years down the line, when they asked me about it in one of those documentary type deals, I'll be like, yeah, we missed that one, but I wasn't gonna say it back then. That might be the route I would go. And I'm not saying he has to lie. I'm just saying just don't talk about it if you know you missed it. Just move on to the next one. Pull the old Bill Belichick. We're moving on to Cincinnati. We're playing Cincinnati next week. Let's see. Denny should say he jumped the restart. It would be a good marketing campaign for him and Jordan. Hey, there you go. I think Kenny Wallace was on top of that jump man or whatever. Green, white checkered or 5 to go. Go back to waving a green flag. Easy fix, says Duke Chronic. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing, too. Like the overtime. If it wasn't for overtime, Martin Truex Jr. still wins this race as well. 3 letters, SMT, in the discussion. Hey, tell him, Cody Ledger, I want to see the SMT data. Even though they basically come out and confirm now that Denny Hamlin jumped, I still want to see the SMT data. Would have taken less time to figure out than it did for them to drive pit road when they were on the rain tires, says Cody. Hey, I mean, there you go. Like I'm saying, man, they've got more technology now than when we went to the freaking moon. They can figure this stuff out. And that's the reason why I was like, well, maybe they know something we don't know if they're going to, let him have the win here, because it looked like on TV for sure that he jumped. But I was like, well, they judged it a good call, and I know they've got the SMT data up there. So that made me think that maybe they saw something on that SMT data that I didn't see. I overestimated NASCAR's intelligence and level of governance ability there. Because they did not see something that I didn't see. It was 100% a jumped restart apparently, and just a big miss from NASCAR there. The other thing he said that got a lot of press is if it happened with 50 or 100 laps to go, we probably would have made the call. So that was even stupider to say. Regardless, NASCAR is so screwed. What happens if Truex jumps the start? They do nothing for a makeup call. Yeah, I mean, anybody that jumps a restart from here going out, Joey Logano had basically said it. If I get called for jumping the restart next week, I'm going to be pissed off, which is ironic because he was still playing games on the restart by laying back. So, you just got to – NASCAR, if they're going to police the restarts very closely from here on out, nobody can lay back and nobody can jump the restart. They've got to police all of it because you can't give the second and third place the advantage on a restart. Howdy from the Great White North. What's up, Robin Marks? What's up, Canada? Is there controversy again? Just kidding. I got a migraine, so I'm playing hurt. The medicine is great. I love Truex, says Robin Marks. I think I'm gonna have a migraine if we talk about this freaking restart another day. This is like day 3 or 4 of it. Kind of like the ump calling the 4th ball for a walk in the replay shows with the Hubble telescope shot that it caught the corner, says Sonny V. Yeah, it happens all the time. And look, here, this is not necessarily any different from any other sport. We've seen in football when people miss a call that sometimes championships are decided in football by missed calls. Same thing with balls and strikes in baseball. They miss it all the time. I ban overtime usually when it's an overtime. The most deserving driver loses, says Napa Race fan. Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion too, right? That's a whole nother conversation. Do we keep overtime or do we go to finishing the race at the actual distance, whether there's a caution or not? Ric Flair reference, woo, says in between the lanes. Hi, fellas, yo, BB. I had to get a new account, my friend. Oh, Roofer, what's up, man? I was wondering where you were at. Good to see you back on here, my dude. So let me do some little how do you do this? Do some there we go. Got to make you a mod again, my friend. So there you go. Had to do a little house cleaning there. Let's see. Kenny Wallace thinks we're piling on Denny. I know Denny is a big boy and is playing this. Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver. I love to hate him, says Robin Marks. Yeah, Denny for sure plays it up, right? That's why I said he's like the Ric Flair. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be the bad guy, and he's going to enjoy that role. So that's what I say. I want to see him play it up some more. Be like, yeah, I cheat to win. So I don't know. Or just do like Chael Sonnen if you watch the UFC. He's never lost a fight, never lost a round, undefeated, the champ. So there you go. Y'all know the Chael sayings if you watch him. If SHR sells one or two of their charters, who do you think will get them? That's a good question. Junior Motorsports, Legacy, all kinds of people are in the mix for them. So 2311, Trackhouse, probably somebody from that mix, I'm guessing. I'm over it. Hamlin won the Truex sandbag, and NASCAR dropped the ball. There you go, Wise Guy. I'm going to get Wise Guy to write all my stuff from here on out because he just nailed it with one sentence. I made a 15-minute video about it. Denny texted Truex Jr. about the situation, and he paraphrased his answer, which was, "I lost my mind." Yeah, I did see that too in between lanes. I'm glad you brought that up because that was actually going to be the video today before Elton Sawyer and Denny Hamlin basically confirmed without a shadow of a doubt that he jumped the restart, at least, without us seeing the SMT data, which I feel like doesn't matter. It does matter. I do want to see it. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but apparently when we see it, it's just going to reiterate, I guess, what we already know. So, yeah, that was actually going to be the story because Denny actually made a few good points. He said it's a restart zone. It's not a restart line. So I was like, well, that's a good point right there. So I would have to actually see the NASCAR rule book, which we don't have access to. But he said the Chevrolet driver coach, Wise, I think is his name, he said that he judged it the same way from the rule book interpretation that he has. So that's what I'm saying. And I've seen it all the time. Like that was a very close restart, but I have seen the argument made that it is a restart zone, not a restart line. So that needs to be clarified as well. But Denny basically admitted that he jumped the restarts on Twitter after he made his Actions Detrimental podcast. That kind of just took that argument away. So I didn't even make that video. So I was like, because I caught enough heat for the other one. If it was Kyle Busch, and all I said on the other one was I'm waiting for the SMT data because NASCAR called it legal. So I feel like NASCAR saw something, but apparently NASCAR didn't look at the SMT data and didn't see anything. They just missed it. So everybody was right in what they saw. So according to what came out today, if it was Kyle Busch, it would have been called. Says Sharitha Cooper. Like there's a lot of arguments to that. Depending on who the driver was, does it get called or not? And I feel like a lot of people believe that, and I feel like that's a fair criticism to make as well. I think Ford and possibly Joey gets a win Sunday. I feel like Ford's going to punch through here eventually too. Ford was really fast at Martinsville last year. I know Kyle Larson won the first one. Ryan Blaney won the second one there at Martinsville. So would not surprise me to see a Penske Ford take it into victory lane there. Richmond is overhated. I'm for one race though to give the other tracks on the schedule one day. Richmond shouldn't have two Cup races. I guess that's the other thing that came out today. Richmond probably going to one race, which I like Richmond, but I kind of like that move. I think there's a lot of tracks that should have one if they've got two dates. There's a lot of tracks that should have one date taken away so that NASCAR can expand and go to regions that love NASCAR that don't have a NASCAR race. So I think that is actually a good move, even though I hate to see Richmond lose a race, allegedly, if it actually happens. The two charters could be a new team and cost $100+ million. It could. Like the charter is worth whatever you pay for it. And then there's the other aspect of that with the drivers' meetings and stuff like that. Is it even are charters even coming back? Because they haven't even decided if charters are coming back, right? So there is so much influx. This is the I don't know. It's a weird point. It's pretty early in the season. We're about maybe a quarter of the way through the regular season. But we've hit this weird thing where there is a lot of speculation going on in the air. It's not even silly season, but it feels like silly season. Hamlin flat out won. I'm not a Denny fan, but I would have done the same dang thing in Hamlin's position. Yeah, so when you see him creeping up like that, you feel like you got to go. And he did explain that he's not looking at that line at that moment. He's looking in his rearview mirror, and when he sees them start to creep up, he doesn't want to give them extra miles per hour before he hits it. So he couldn't let them creep up anymore, so that's why he went when he went. So like I said, because that gives the other two cars an advantage because they're already rolling at a faster rate when you hit the gas. So like I said, NASCAR needs to not only the restart zone, but they need to get them tighter, get them bunched up tighter on the restart so that the second and third place, fourth place cars don't have an advantage as well. If you want to check out the merch, Wise Guy dropped the link here, so feel free to help out the channel if you would like to. We got sweatshirts, tees, hats, and stickers. I think that's it. Same thing at Martinsville. What do you think? Would be done if the same thing happens at Martinsville? What do you think will be done? Well, it's NASCAR, so they'll probably call it really tight, right? Because it just happened. And there's the Discord server too. If you want to join the Discord, trying to get the Discord going. I'm far more active on it now than when it first started out. I'm still figuring out Discord though. Dirtbag Denny doesn't disappoint, says Craig. Hey, there you go, Dirtbag Denny. That's a good nickname. He should embrace that villain role. Who are you picking for all three series at Martinsville? Says Jackson. That's a good question. Let's see. Still got Martinsville pulled up, or still got Richmond pulled up. I don't have Martinsville pulled up just yet. Looks like Joey Logano's got the best average finish there. So Joey Logano looking good, and then in the truck series, Corey Haim's always a good guess. Xfinity Series, Martinsville. Xfinity Series, Martinsville. I don't know. I have to think on the Xfinity Series here for a minute. Dale Jr. won't be happy that Richmond is at risk of losing a date. Bring back the sealer. For sure. And it's nothing against Richmond. There's just a lot of tracks with 2 dates that I think if it went to 1 date, they would probably sell out. And also, it would give places that love NASCAR a race in their area. So I think it's actually, even though I hate to see Richmond or anybody lose a race, I do think it's good overall because regions that don't get NASCAR would get a race back. Generation Z NASCAR is the participation trophy era. About done with it, says Mark Barnum. They do seem to lean into the drama quite a bit. These days are drama. These days are the days of our lives, NASCAR fans, soap opera, scripted drama, and creative endings, crazy cautions. It's just, you don't even have to, because they can say, oh, that's fringe. People are just saying that. But what you cannot say is that the playoffs are 100% about entertainment. So they are definitely skewing more toward entertainment than anything else. And so I feel like saying that the calls they're making are for entertainment, it has some merit. It's a fair question to ask, whether it's right or wrong. It is a fair question to ask. Denny sucks, says Jackson Robinson. Hey, y'all. Joey Logano said on Sirius he would be mad if what he did, the 11 on the restart next week, got black flagged. Didn't seem to agree with the call, says say Kyle. So, yeah, I feel like you would have that argument as a driver, but what does NASCAR do going forward? Do they miss every single call because they missed one call? Nope, you've got to enforce it from here on out and just say, hey, we missed that call. And like I said, it's ironic that Joey Logano said that because what he was doing was technically illegal too. You're laying back on the restart. So it's funny. So, yeah, you can ding Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin jumped the restart, but Martin Truex Jr. and Joey Logano laid back on the restart too. So all three cars, technically, by letter of the law, since we want the integrity of the sport protected, all three of those cars should have been thrown out if you're going to throw out Denny Hamlin as well. Let's see. Hey, what up, BD? How's your Tuesday going? Going good, Chrome Diesel. I hope you're doing good as well, my friend. Like I said before, Martin Truex Jr. wins Martinsville after momentum from Richmond. Yeah, that would probably be the best way, the happiest ending for all of this is if Martin Truex Jr. gets the win in Richmond, which he is more than capable of. That would put a bow tie on it, and hopefully people would stop talking about it because it's eventually going to get wore out. Kenny and Danica today, LOL, said Mark Barnum. I haven't seen that yet, so I'll have to check it out. I haven't seen what he had to say about Danica or if he had her on the show or whatever. Dominating performance is what I meant by revenge, not anything in a bad way. Yeah, I got you. I was following you there. And Martin Truex Jr. also told Denny Hamlin, according to Denny Hamlin's podcast, that they were good. That was the part before he said he just lost his mind. He said, we're good. It's no big deal. I just lost my mind. So Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin beef, that's not going to happen. Clint Boyer called it, says one wise guy, the officiating. Oh, yeah, so Clint Boyer was Johnny on the spot in the booth. He said, I think he jumped. But then at the end of the race, you know what Clint Boyer, I'll tell you what he did. He won. So Clint Boyer immediately knew what to say after the fact, too. He was like, NASCAR missed it. So I'll tell you what he did. He won. The officiating by the NASCAR group has been awful this year. Cody Ledger with that. I'll go one further. The officiating by NASCAR has been awful since I've been alive. I can't tell what time the Rolex 500 drama, Deegan, KFB, wall cautions, that was a bad one too. I did mention that on the 15-minute documentary I made Monday. Track limits, I'll try not to make another 15-minute one. That was a little excessive. by the way, in the S's, only at COTA, but there was a lot to cover. Ran Xfinity cars out of gas in Atlanta. Dump Richmond Spring dates for Mexico and Mexico before Canada. Yeah, so that's so far down the road. I got you, Napa. I don't know which place they would go to though, if they drop Richmond. So that's pretty far down the line. I know there's some speculation out there, but I want to see Richmond lose the date before I guess I jump in and decide where that date's going to go. Richmond should have been a day race. Only reason it was night is because it's on Easter, says Duke Chronic. And I'll go one further with you, Duke Chronic. If you're going to have a night race, have the night race on Saturday, right? So it should have been Saturday night Richmond. Whenever you have a night race, I feel like it should always be on a Saturday night. Sunday night is just really hard on the fans. Hello all, Rowdy Nation is in the house. What's up, Gina? What is up, Rowdy Nation? There really wasn't any tire wear Sunday, so that makes the difference. Average race, decent finish. They had good tire wear. The only issue was everybody's tire wear was going away at the same time. There wasn't a ton of comers and goers. There wasn't enough tire wear to where somebody could run a different line and save tires. But if it was a short pit, so it would have been an issue. It would have been a cooler thing there. So that's one of those situations you can gap and speed on new tires and old. How about them impeccable by the book, rule enforcement standards from NASCAR proudly embraces and assures fans the winner is NASCAR decided, regardless of the understood rules, says Jamie Schweitzer. The winner is who the wrestlers agreed on before the match started. You don't need SMT data here. The in-car shows the white line in front of the hood when you hear Hamlin punch the gas, says Bruce Garvey. Yeah, and like I said, I agree with that 100%, and it's also been pointed out now by Denny Hamlin and by Elton Sawyer that they missed it. So we'll get the SMT data. I still want to see it because I just feel like that's a good precedent to set going forward. But yeah, it's pretty obvious from this point. The only reason I thought that NASCAR might have seen something we didn't see is because they have that SMT data, but apparently they didn't look at it, which just makes them look as incompetent as possible. I heard Martin Truex Jr. Was not a fan of what he got in his Easter basket, says in between the lanes. It's interesting to me how Richmond was a fan favorite track. Now it's nearly the most hated track on the schedule. It isn't the action track it used to be, but far from awful. Not great with the Cup car. That's part of the issue too. Josh Wise, thank you. I couldn't remember his first name. Appreciate you in between the lanes. Josh Wise is the Chevrolet drivers coach that I was talking about with the restart line. I don't think Denny tried to cheat. I legit think he thought he was at the line or close enough. It wouldn't matter which it was, but NASCAR has to make that call. They do the double yellow at Dega last lap, says Kyle. Yeah, I'm with you. Look, I understand what Denny was doing. He was going off of the cars going behind him because they were trying to get a rolling start, so they were cheating. So he cheated back. So is it like in football? There's offsetting penalties, so NASCAR didn't call it. Like, that would have been the smartest thing for Elton Sawyer to say. Because that just would have shut it down, because then you shut down the Martin Truex Jr. fans and you also shut down the Joey Logano fans, right? Because you're like, hey, by the way, your guys cheated too. So if we're going to call one, we're going to call them all. And Kyle Larson is the winner. Do you really want that crap fest the next day when we give the third place car or the fourth place car the win? So no, he finished third, right? So yeah, in that situation, give the third place car the win. So that would have been just as bad as Tapegate, right, at Pocono, I think. I think they had the tape at Pocono or something like that for when they took the win away from Denny Hamlin. Riley Herbst is not a fan of candy, says in between the lanes. Roofer saying, what's up to Gina? Let's see. One wise guy, I agree, Ford is due for a win. Logano, maybe Penske. Yeah, Logano and Penske are definitely good here. Let's see. I wasn't thrilled on Sunday at all, thanks to the very long competition yellow. Pretty much, we had 3 stage breaks plus the bogus yellow for Bush's setup to be a very boring race. Yeah, I agree. That Kyle Busch yellow was ridiculous. You can use my quotes anytime, bud. No problem there, wise guy. I'm defending Denny here, says Roofer. Yeah, I think it's crazy that it's such a bad call that Denny Hamlin is actually getting some defense here from people because. Look, he jumped the restart, right? But it's only a big deal because a lot of people hate Denny Hamlin. So let's not act like that's not the biggest reason that this is a big deal. But let's not also ignore the fact that those guys were laying back. So NASCAR just needs to clean up the damn restarts, period. Like that was an atrocious restart. Just about every aspect of that race was atrocious from race control. NASCAR needs to fix everything they did wrong about that race. And the next thing NASCAR needs to do about it is shut up and move on to Martinsville. Stop talking about Richmond. move on to Martinsville because you're not going to please anybody at this point. Just be like, yo, hey, guess what? We screwed up. We're moving on to Martinsville because NASCAR, there's no saving face. Every move NASCAR Race Control made at Richmond was pretty awful. If Denny didn't have the podcast, he would not have commented on the restart, says Sonny V. I agree with you 100% there. But he did it on Twitter later, so I don't know 100%, but I think because the door was open with the podcast, I think there is a lot of merit to that. There says Duke Chronic. This is the first thing, talking about the Ford there. This is the first thing I've listened to all week. I was disgusted at the end of the race Sunday. I disliked the entire situation. Yeah, I think that was pretty much a lot of people's feelings at the end of it. Like, NASCAR had missed and messed up so much stuff that it was just disappointing. Like, if you're a Joey Logano, if you're a Martin Truex Jr. fan, you have got to be upset that they didn't call that. If you're a Denny Hamlin fan, you got to be like, yeah, you know what, he cheated, but so did the other guys because they laid back on the restart, which once again, at the end of the day, falls on NASCAR. It's not Denny Hamlin's fault that he jumped the restart and got away with it. That's NASCAR's fault. It's not Denny Hamlin's fault that the two guys laid back and didn't get called for laying back. That's NASCAR's fault. It's not anybody's fault that NASCAR messed up the Kyle Busch caution. It's not Kyle Busch's fault that the caution was called. That's NASCAR's fault for calling the caution, right? So every step there, it is. Never assume starting calls are reliable. NASCAR, says Jamie Schweitzer. Agree. Gina says, Mark, I had a hard time believing Denny didn't jump the restart when he went into the post race in his podcast, saying the 19 was rolling up on him instead of laying back. Says Timber Race. That's probably a pretty fair statement there as well. I mean, like I said, I thought NASCAR had saw something that us regular people didn't see with the SMT data, so I had to make the video that I made on Monday because I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. But then Elton Sawyer comes out here today, and I'm just like, okay, so y'all really just missed it that bad, and it wasn't anything I missed, right? Because I'm like, they obviously saw something that the rest of us didn't see with the SMT data, but they didn't. And Elton Sawyer came out and confirmed it today, so I'm like, come on, like, you've got more information there. And he talked about because he watched it on the two replays, he watched the replays several times today. It's like, dude, you had forever to look at those replays after the race. Like, look at them then. I don't know, just a really bad as it stands right now. Let's see. I lost my spot here, so I'm just going to start right here. Maybe NASCAR does the race at Dodger Stadium. Weird idea, but interesting. May return to the Coliseum. Again, can't be Long Beach. It still could be Long Beach. It could be a co-event with IMSA, or they could get a separate event for Long Beach. I'm still not ruling Long Beach out. They might not have got control and stake in it, but I don't think Long Beach is necessarily all the way off the table. That is his fault for not looking at the restart line. They'll do a makeup that will hurt another driver, says Dirty Def. Yeah. So the only thing, and I agree with you, it hurts the Truex fans, it hurts the Joey Logano fans, whoever that you thought might have won that race. They missed it one time. Call it going forward. It just, if you're a Truex or a Joey Logano fan, it just sucks for you that they missed it this time, and it cost you a win. And it really sucks. I do feel bad for Martin Truex Jr., because that is the first time you've really ever seen Martin Truex Jr. just show that much emotion and lose that much control. Like, you saw how much winning that race meant to Martin Truex Jr., and I thought that was actually a great thing. Despite I didn't like him running into cars. What I'm saying is I like the fact that he was that emotional about losing. So aside from running into cars, you kind of get what I'm getting at here. It was cool to see that race meant that much to him at his age still. Like, he was acting like a young kid that just lost a race, and I did like to see that passion and that fire from him. So it does suck from that perspective. I don't think anybody feels great about how that race went for Martin Truex Jr. At the end. There's no doubt about that. Dirtbag Denny, love it. He's having a hard time keeping all those alligators down. Hey, there you go. Dirtbag Denny, and he's having a hard time keeping these alligators down, Jack. Woo! Says Sonny V. So there you go. That's as good a Ric Flair as I can do. I apologize. I'd like an HMS win with the 40th anniversary schemes and celebrations. But I think Truex gets redemption and wins at Martinsville. That would be really cool. So that would be like the fairy tale ending, right? Martin Truex Jr. gets screwed last week. He gets a win this week. Early starter gets the trophy, says Jamie Schweitzer. So yeah, if I'm sitting in 10th place, I'm just going from here on out. 10th place, I'm gonna pass 10 cars on the outside, and let's rock and roll. We need Ford to start getting wins, or NASCAR will start giving them stuff. Says Duke Chronic. Talking like back in the day, that was actually a thing. teams would know they had a pretty decent car, but they would sandbag to get a little extra advantage, and then they had an absolutely amazing car. That was a lot of gamesmanship in the 80s and 90s. Truck Series going up against March Madness, not good for viewers. Yeah, they're not going to pull out March Madness. It's going to be a bad day for the Truck Series. Agreed, Roofer. I think around NBC pickup, but Sunday is a great opportunity. I still don't get it. Why was there a line then? If it doesn't matter, it needs to be black and white, or just get rid of them lines. Says Aeon. Yeah, I agree. Make it a like digitally timed thing. Like you've got those two lines timed, and you can't hit the gas before that. But on top of that, you can't give the second and third place guys any advantage either. So you've got to say, hey, if you're more than like 6 inches, let's say the noses, you got 6 inches or maybe a foot on the nose. That's all you got, 6 inches or a foot. If you're not that close, then you're getting a penalty for it as well. Because if you're rolling up 5 miles an hour faster when I hit the gas right here, and then you hit the gas, you're already 5 miles an hour faster, and you've got the advantage on the outside. That's another thing that needs to be policed as well. So I agree with you. They just need to clean up the whole thing. The whole thing was a bad look for NASCAR. They missed the restart. They let the guys lag back. The Kyle Busch incident, they threw the yellow and made it mandatory to take the rain tires off. All of that was BS, and NASCAR, it was bad. Everything was bad about it. And I hate to say that because I love NASCAR. I'm not going to stop watching it. But that was bad. Like I can't defend any of that. BD, I see we might not race on Easter next year, and I know LA Coliseum. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I knew the Coliseum was done from the attendance this year. But no racing on Easter. That might be a good idea, but it doesn't mean we can't race on that Saturday. So I wouldn't. It might be an Easter weekend race, but it won't be Easter. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, says One Wise Guy. Yeah, that would be much appreciated for sure. If not, I'll just keep banging these things out until I convince you. Let's see. Wet tires at Martinsville, please, says Duke Chronic. You go to Martinsville, you got to expect some type of weather, so I know they'll bring them. This restart controversy is nothing compared to Spingate. Fox even referred to it during the broadcast since Boyer won that race. Ironically, that ended up hurting Truex also. It is what it is for sure. That one was a little bit bigger. Duke Chronic, GTG Mustang Project, says Roofer. Looking towards Martinsville, what are the chances Logano cashes in for the win with what he learned at the North Wilkesboro Tire Test? I would say it's probably pretty good because he was pretty dang on good at Richmond. And if he gets even faster, it could be a problem for the rest of the field because they were fast there last year with the Dark Horse deal, says Duke Chronic. GTD, I got you. I was wondering about the GTG. I was like, this is a series I've not heard of before. Hit that like button for the Al Gore rhythm, says Sonny V. Mexico Spring race, Mexico Spring Richmond dates. It could be. That seems to be the big rumor. We'll have to wait and see. I think Chris Myers maybe have started that one. What's up, BB and crew? What's up, T-Van? They have Sunday night races for TV ratings. Less people watch. Saturday night, I prefer Saturday night racing myself. Yeah, I think so too. Saturday night would be where it's at, and you're always going to be up against the March Madness in that particular deal, so you might as well just deal with it and have it on Saturday night anyway. I agree if a night race should be Saturday, not Sunday, for the fans' sake, if nothing else. Yeah, I think the teams would agree with that too. It's easier on the teams as well, so for sure. Gina going with the Rowdy 8-ball there. Let's see. Denny Hamlin wears his PJs when he gets his Toyota street vehicle worked on at the Mavis Tires Brake Center, and he loves love because who doesn't love love? That's the James Dennis that we know. Let's see. Did you see the tweet from Chris Myers saying that the Clash at the Coliseum is over, but NASCAR will be racing somewhere in Elton, Southern California? Over as well. Yeah, that's what I did. You confirmed to me that it was Chris Myers, but yeah, I did see. Couldn't remember who said it though. But yeah, so that's going to be interesting as well. As far as Saturday night race, I don't think Fox wanted to go up against the NCAA men's basketball that night. Yeah, you're going to go up against it one day or the other, so you might as well just bite down and just go up against it and be done with it. Which is ironic because they at one time they wanted to go up against the NFL, but now they're scared of going up against college basketball. Unfortunately, Martinsville will be just as bad as Richmond or worse. This car just isn't good for short tracks and road courses. I think it's great for road courses. I actually think it's way too good for road courses. I think that's part of the problem. The tires are too wide for short, or have too much grip, I should say, for short tracks, which part of that is because they're too wide. Saw on Instagram that Josh Berry and Daniel Suarez talked after the race. I think they had Easter dinner as well. Hopefully they got it squashed because Amigo 99 was not happy at all. The KW, Kenny Wallace and Danica podcast was hilarious. She was tripping. She's actually pretty funny. I like this version of Danica. I mean, if she ever would just like let her hair down and be a real person, I think that would probably endear some more people toward her. But she seems to play this this character that she wants to be this like badass or whatever on TV. I don't know. That's always been my impression of it. I don't know much. I don't know how much hate Martin Truex Jr. is getting, but can't blame him for going berserk after the race. Yeah, I don't blame him at all. Like, it was actually good to see that emotion. Like, if he didn't show some type of emotion, I would have been concerned because, like, I don't know if as bad as what he did was, you can't hit race cars on the racetrack. That's a dangerous situation. You should never do that. But as bad as his temper flared up there, I can't say that my temper would have been any better. It probably would have been worse. So I definitely understand the emotion, but I'm not defending what he did, if that makes any sense. What's up, Bruce, says One Wise Guy. And what's up from me as well, Bruce? I hope everything's going well from your treatment there. Hot take, Martinsville will be fairly good race, but not a great race, better than Richmond. I hope so. I will be there Sunday, sitting in row BB at the very top. So if you want to come say what's up, that's where I will be at for the race. And pre-race, I'll probably just be walking around in the little fan zone where they got the T-shirts and stuff like that. I like to spend a lot of time there. And then sometimes I like to go look at the wall art and stuff. They got some really cool like old pictures up. I like to look at them. What else do I normally do when I'm goofing off? I walk back to my car a lot, so obviously you're not gonna know where I park. But sometimes if you peep out the parking lot, sometimes I walk back to the parking lot 2 or 3 times just to sit down and chill. So I'll be around. So keep an eye out. Danny B told me I should go to the Bob Pockrass tweet up. So if I remember that, which is it's a big if, and if I get there in time, I'll be there for the Bob Pockrass tweet up. So I might see you there. Just remind me because I forget stuff all the time, man. NASCAR asked drivers to do their own starts, and that's the game. But that's their rule. Go in the zone, says I do chronic. Yeah, NASCAR missed the call. There's no doubt about it. And hopefully they get it right from here on out. But that doesn't help. That doesn't help the guys that got screwed over this race at all. My new way of being it was last week, and that's in the past. Hamlin's shit got the win. And it's final. NASCAR big wheels suck, but hey, let's move on. That's what I'm saying. Like it happened. It sucked, but hopefully going forward they fix it and they get it to where it's called more accurately. Hopefully they digitize it. I'm personally on the bandwagon of, you know what, just digitize it like pit road from here on out. After thinking about it for basically all of this week, I'm like, you know what, just digitize it like you do on pit road. I don't want you making the judgment call anymore because Elton Sawyer proved the point for me. You guys are just incompetent. Like, so just I want to take that away from you because it needs to be a electronically timed deal. Let's see. I'm here, but I am blank. So it's a no comment night. Oh, he's upset. The race was a disgrace, says William Wagner. Yeah, I feel like a lot of fans feel like that. Part of it's because Denny Hamlin won. Part of it is because NASCAR would just officiated the race so atrociously. Tape at Pocono, yes. 2022 M&M's fan appreciation. Booth, Hamlin, and Bush DQ'd, and Elliott ended up winning the race. There you go. Whenever the third place man, and especially in that deal because it's Chase Elliott, so that brought out the anti-Chase Elliott crowd. So when you give it to the guy in third place, there's going to be a controversy about that too. So those situations just never end well. I think NASCAR higher ups need to be replaced, kind of like they are like the people running the country. Sorry to make it like that. But NASCAR is needing a change badly, says T-Van. Yeah. Maybe they need to maybe they need to put a certain amount of years that you can be a NASCAR official or something. I don't know. I'm not getting into all that though. NASCAR should have called off the restart or done it over. Yeah, so that's actually a good thing that they've gotten late models. So maybe put that in there. Put that in there going forward. That'd be another good thing to have. Instead of just penalizing the guy that jumps the restart, you get one missed opportunity. We're going to do it again, and then do it like that instead of just punishing the guy that jumps the restart. For at least for the last restart, right? Or the last 10 or 20 laps, however you want to do it. 80 showed up. Typical YouTube spamming ads. Oh man, that's terrible. That's terrible. It didn't even pop up over here. The ad thing didn't pop up over here. At least I didn't see it. Can you clarify the rule about the restart zone, please? It depends on who you ask, man. Because like I was saying on Denny Hamlin's podcast and Josh Wise, also the Chevrolet driving coach, their understanding of the restart zone is it's a zone around that line. That was the argument they were making. So from that perspective, he didn't jump the restart, although Elton Sawyer came out today and said that he did jump the restart. So their understanding of that rule is apparently wrong. Apparently, it is a hard line. That line that is on the racetrack is a hard line. But according to Josh Wise, who is the Chevrolet driver's coach, and Denny Hamlin, you can look at Josh Wise's tweet, by the way. Josh Wise tweeted out a really well thought out response. So you can look at what he said in his tweet. I don't have it in front of me. But their understanding was that line is just a zone because the advantage should always go to the leader. So that was the argument they were making. But then today, Denny Hamlin came out and said he jumped. And Elton Sawyer today came out and said he jumped. So according to what Elton Sawyer said today, that is not the right interpretation of the rule. It is an absolute line there. It is not a zone. It is not a restart zone. It is a restart line, and you restart the race in between these two lines, which in between those two lines is the restart zone. So I don't know. I never thought that we would be getting this technical on a rule that we don't even have in front of us. It would be nice to have a NASCAR rule book too, but we can't have access to one of those either without buying a charter. Let's see. Elton Sawyer said they didn't have time to call them back for laying back because Denny was already gone. Says Dirty Death. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good comeback for that. I like your reasoning, BB. Says Ron Russell. I appreciate it. I'm trying to be like as accurate with this as possible and take out all of the who won, who didn't win. I'm just trying to look at it from a rule perspective because I know a lot of people don't like Denny Hamlin, but I'm just trying to look at it from an actual rule perspective. Yes, Denny Hamlin broke the rule, but also Joey Logano and Martin Truex Jr. broke a rule by laying back. So the whole restart was a disaster. Everything about it needs to be cleaned up. Hello, good evening, everybody. Race was egregious. 100% with you there, David. It was atrocious from NASCAR's officiating standpoint. Kind of a Dennis fan. He jumped, started slightly and used a Martin Truex Jr. up a little bit on NASCAR 100%. There you go. That's probably the best way. That's a good way of saying it too. Denny Hamlin messed up a little bit, but it's 100% on NASCAR. It's NASCAR's fault for not fixing it. 50-50 at their discretion. Let the drivers handle it. Yeah, and Denny Hamlin did reach out to Martin Truex Jr. They are cool. Just to put a cap on that in case you weren't here earlier. He and Martin Truex Jr. are cool. It's all good. Martin Truex Jr. said, "I'm not mad at you. I just lost my mind there. We're good." So that there's not going to be any drama from that going forward, which is good. I never liked Hamlin, even when he was our teammate, says Gina, talking about Rowdy. In this situation, I believe Hamlin was the lead car on this restart. He was, and it is at the discretion of the leader to go when he wants to, but not whenever he wants to, I guess would be the right way to say it. You still got to wait till you're actually in that zone. So the only thing Denny could have done was back up to them. And when he sees them starting to back up, then he goes. But that still gives the advantage to them a little bit. So you just got to clean it up. You got to clean up everything about that restart. That's the only fair thing to say about it. Winston Cup style points. Truex leads by 37 over Ty Gibbs. Truex is the only driver to run every lap this year. Priest is last in full season driver points. He has completed all but 5 laps. Hey, there you go. Ryan Priest having a terrible year too. That's sort of going off the rail. I thought Ryan Priest would resurrect his career this year. I thought he was going to be on the Stewart-Haas gang that was on the upswing. So far, he's the only guy at Stewart-Haas Racing that doesn't have some good momentum so far this season. So that's unfortunate to see. Noah Gregson's back there with him in points, but that's because of the penalty. I watched the replay. I don't think I don't think Denny jumped, says Roofer. It's hard to say, man. He jumped, but it's not the worst jump I've ever seen in my life. And I'm saying he jumped now because Elton Sawyer said it, and Denny Hamlin has now said he jumped as well. So it is what it is. Can we speak about Joey's run Sunday and what it means for the season? Everybody is overlooking it. I did mention it in the 15-minute basically rant, tirade, documentary, short film, whatever you want to call on Monday. I did touch on it and say that was a huge run for Joey Logano. That was a season-saving second-place finish. And by God, if he had got that win, that would be a season-saving win because he has started off his season rough. The only driver I can think of that started their season off this poorly and made it to the Final Four or made a deep run in the playoffs was Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell started off either last year or the year before. He had an awful start to the season. I swear he probably DNF'd 4 races, I want to say. But then by the end of the season, he made the Final Four, if I'm not mistaken, that year. So there is still hope for Joey Logano, and this second place finish. I was about to say win. This second place finish gets him back in that conversation. I think he's 19th or 20th in points, maybe 18th in points, somewhere in that region, where he was close to the 30s. He gained like 5 or 6 spots, I want to say. I haven't seen Sawyer's clip, so yeah, it's out there. So he basically said if the thing that got the most press was he said, if this had happened with 100 laps to go or 50 laps to go, we probably call that. But with it being the last restart of the race, we didn't want to call it. So he got a lot of flack for that, which is rightly so. And he also said that after looking at it several times, that he missed the call, which is crazy to me because they've got all this SMT data and stuff to look at. That they shouldn't be missing that call if they look at it. And that's why on Monday I lean toward, well, maybe they know some information that we don't know if they didn't call it. But apparently they didn't. They just they didn't look at it enough times to figure out that Denny Hamlin had jumped the restart there. Officiating needs to be overhauled. Enough being trigger happy with the caution button, says Chrome. Yeah, I don't know how you get rid of that with the caution, but they can definitely anything that they can digitally time and do it that way. They need to do it that way because their judgment sucks. Like that's the only thing I can say about this. I'm hurting. LOL. WTF RCR. Yeah, we suck on short tracks. For the last 3 or 4 years, we're just awful on short tracks. Me too, T-Van, says one wise guy. I thought it was funny that James Small told Martin to race Bowman, like to put him a lap down at the end of the stage. Ain't that karma, says Aaron Flynn. So, yeah, he was cutting he cut Alex Bowman absolutely no slack. And so a lot of people did see it as that was like a karma deal. I guess if you're an Alex Bowman fan, that Truex didn't win the race at the end of the race because he was giving your driver such a tough time for trying to get back on the lead lap. Interesting enough, Truex lost Richmond back in 2017 from fake debris caution. It allowed Larson to win at the end, says Chrome Diesel. Yeah, somebody put up some crazy stat that he's lost Richmond after leading the most laps like 6 or 7 times or something like that. Kyle Petty called Martin Truex Jr. Out after he got out of his own auto owner's insurance Toyota Camry. Sorry about that spelling. Says in between the lanes. No penalties this week, says one wise guy. They took some cars back for R&D, but I didn't see any penalties come out of it, which is hard to say. Because there were so many like April Fools. I just stayed off of all the news stuff on April Fools. So I've just literally picked it back up today. What's up, Roofer, says T-Van. Inches count, says Gina Allison. Same old stuff, says T-Fan. Gina, I'm a KFB fan too, but he's not going anywhere with RCR. They are incompetent. NASCAR is like voting. Don't complain if you ain't watching, says Gina. That's a fair statement. You love NASCAR. That's like hating the sin but loving the sinner. Easter hangover, says Robin Marks. That's about accurate. I love NASCAR racing. I don't love NASCAR officiating. I guess I should be fair about it there. Gina, good Lord, LOL, says Roofer, and that's the bottom line because BB said so. Fiat tagged, legal as a beagle. Fixing to be on Wednesday. I got to go get it inspected. I got the 10 days. I got the 10 days on it right now. Easter Day is April 20th in 2025. Those young guns are looking strong in Cup this year, says Bones. Yeah, the young guys are starting to make a name for themselves for sure. Roofer, he is a good Lord, says Gina Allison. Saturday nights all for fighting. Storms are hitting here in Athens, Ohio. Oh, so stay warm, stay dry over there in Athens there, Bones. Let's see. BB, how would Earth 2 handle a restart zone issues? Earth 2, we go single file restarts. You don't reward the second place car for being in second place. Single file restarts on Earth 2. There is no lucky dog. The lap cars line up on the inside, and you deal with it like an adult, like they did in the 80s and 90s, and that's all there is to that one. Like I said, the double file restarts, that's once again NASCAR just doing it for entertainment. It hurts the person who earned the lead. So I'm all for single file restarts, which is a super unpopular opinion. So let me throw another unpopular opinion out there. Let's see. Wild prediction for this week: Josh Perry wins on wet tires. That would be cool. Like that would be cool if we did like a whole wet tire race. Do they have enough wet tires for us to do a whole wet tire race at Martinsville? Ron Russell, sad to think RCR is so wonky. Yeah, on the everywhere else, I'll say. The Alexander move is actually, I feel, all of RCR. Him and the, oh man, I can't call the guy's name right now, but him and Kyle Busch's crew chief are a pretty good combination together. It's crazy when you can't call, you know his name, but you can't call it. I hate it when that happens. Long Beach has that track laid out for 2 weeks, a bunch of races, and NASCAR could go to. Yeah, I'm thinking they could do something like that. The only issue from that perspective would possibly be traffic, but I'm sure they can figure something out. Speaking of March Madness, how about those Hawkeyes? Yeah, Caitlin dropping 41 on them. That was pretty wild. Inconsequential NASCAR crap, says Gina. Let's see. Let's get off the BS question. The exhaust pipes on the new car, are they too short? Is that what the drivers are getting sick behind the wheel? It could be. Could be. Like you're putting the fumes right there beside the driver. Like that is kind of BS. They ran them over here to the right side for a reason back in the day. So that's a fair assessment, I think. You're also making the drivers hotter by running the pipe so close to them as well. OJ, I can see fireworks like it's a nitro circus. SVG said the Xfinity car felt like you're floating there, and the Cup car feels like you're pinned to the ground. Yeah, they're far more aggressive with bump stops apparently with the new car than they are. They're aero platforming. So what they're doing, you're aero platforming a little bit in the Xfinity series on the faster tracks, but the Xfinity cars are not as aerodynamically, I guess, sensitive. So you've got a little more compliance. They're probably not as aggressive with the bump stops, and that's why you don't feel it as much. Also, they're big spring cars, so that's a bit of it too. In the Xfinity series, I want to say the new cars are coilover. I don't think there's any part of the Xfinity car that's not big spring. I don't think they have coilover rear shocks, but they might have coilover rear shocks. I'll have to ask somebody about that. I haven't looked at that in a long time, but I know the front is big spring on the Xfinity series cars. And that's why they ride softer. You're not as aggressive on the bump stops, which, you know what, probably nobody cares or at all what I'm talking about. But that's the reason. They're real aggressive with the bump stops on the Cup Series side. More aggressive than they are on the Xfinity Series side. NASCAR got woke, and we all know it, says Gina. BD, you got storms coming through right now. I keep losing connections. We have had some crazy weather here in Indiana the last 24 hours. Martinsville will be Marble City and need to find a better way to clean that track. I love you, Bob, says Gina. Roofer dropping the merch. So yeah, if you want to help out the channel, there is the link for the merch right there. You going to the race with some buddies? Or you going solo? I think I'm going solo this time. I'll be at Orange County on Saturday, and I'll be at Martinsville on Sunday. So pray for me. Let's see, and I'll be there by myself. Was watching Pat McAfee today, and someone on X compared Caitlin Clark to Dale Sr. That's an interesting comparison. I miss Benny Parsons, says Gina. Laughing my butt off. I forget stuff all the time. There might be a shirt there, BB. Yeah, for sure. NASCAR higher ups are family. Let's see. It's not Hamlin that people are angry about. It's NASCAR officiating. I think it's 50-50, to be honest with you. I think people are super mad about the officiating, but they're even madder that it benefited somebody that most people don't like. So I feel like it's a little from column A and a little from column B. I agree with you that they're mad about both, though. Stupid Roofer, exactly 100, says Gina. Shoot, I missed the start of the show, says Diane. It's all good. We're glad to have you on here now, though. Getting in the zone, auto zone, says in between the lanes. I prefer NASCAR having less rules. I mean, it just makes it simpler to keep track of. Let's see. I'm just mad that Hamlin won, says Diane. I think a lot of people are, no doubt about that. Well, we certainly didn't win, says Gina. Yeah, we were doing everything we could to stay on the lead lap over at RCR, and we didn't accomplish that either. Martin Truex Jr. got totally ripped off. He was mad at everyone. That guy spun and got his place back. But he didn't get his place back. He gained spots on the pit stop. He actually lost 2 spots in the spin, though. But yeah, let's see. Rowdy will be fine. Gina says Roofer. Yeah, he'll be fine everywhere but the short tracks until RCR figures it out, which, fingers crossed, one of these days, man, Not to be mean, but Hamlin may win races, but he won't win the championship, says Gina. That's typically everybody's go-to with the Hamlin criticism. And so far, history has proven you right, that the numbers are in your favor overwhelmingly. Series was built on cheating. Truex fell asleep and got beat, says Krusty. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's just debates on it every which way, but I feel like nobody's happy about anything after this race. So it was just a bummer race for everybody, except for me, who I just watched it and I was like, this was kind of a ho-hum race. And then the end got really exciting. And then I was just like, all right, well, it was just another ho-hum race, but we had a good ending. And then I got on the live stream that night and people were like mad. And I was like, oh crap. I was like, people are mad. So I was like, okay. I was like, we'll roll with it. But I was like, and part of it is I won money because I bet on Denny Hamlin. So like that probably was why I didn't mind either. So that probably had something to do with it too. But I was just like, it's sort of a ho-hum race that got bailed out by the finish. But then I jumped onto the live stream. I was like, damn. I was like, people are like mad. So that's what I was like. Let me try to wrap my head around why they're as mad as they are. So that was part of it too. Martin Truex Jr. 6 years in a row with the most laps led at Richmond without a win, says one wise guy. Oh, there you go. 6 years in a row. That was crazy. I didn't know it was in a row. That's crazy. Good stat, wise guy. Appreciate you, my man. Joey will get the win, but he has to get some top 10 segment points. Yeah, he's going to have to points race a little bit, but I feel like he's got a chance this weekend to get the win. So hopefully he goes for the win here. Gina agreed. He may never get a championship, says wise guy. Mr. Pearson, what's up, my friend? NASCAR needs that off-site place for officials to have all the data and cameras. Hire former drivers. Truex didn't win the war last time either. Getting here late, we can just go back to the green flag and wave starts the field. Says Brickyard Brickhead. I mean that's fair enough too. But I'm also for single file restarts. RCR, which I know it's not gonna win me any fans. RCR on drivers can win cups. Says Duke Chronic. Rowdy still in it. Now I'm worried about racing at Iowa. Will it be no good racing as Richmond was? Trash, says Chrome Diesel. I think Iowa will be good because Iowa has more banking, if I'm not mistaken, than Richmond. Earth 2, single file restart with 10 to go, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, there you go. 10 to go. Single file with 10 to go. I'm down with that. So the 3 got his old crew chief. How about that crew? The number 3 pit crew is like top 10 this season. So actually, the pit crew is doing their job. Logano or one of those RFK Fords are going to win in 2024. The championship, Gina, Rowdy will come in second. So Roofer predicting a second place for Rowdy. I can't stand Hendrick Motorsports, but Rowdy is one of them cars. Woo. Rowdy in one of those cars. Woo. Said Gina. So yeah, at the very beginning of his career, he got a few starts in the 5 there, maybe 2 or 3 seasons. Let's see. Kenny Wallace agrees with you completely about the single file restart. I think it's the correct opinion. Oh, I didn't know that, so I need to check out. Oh, Kenny's on top of it. I hear you, Kenny. I hear you. We agree on something, so that makes him awesome again. Not that he was never not awesome, to be honest. No, Roofer throwing up the rock on. Isn't underbody causing so much heat since the covers are on these? Yeah, I mean. That's part of it too. It's trapping the heat. Like there's a lot of stuff about that new car that's not good. Bruce Reed re-upping. I appreciate you there, Bruce. Fist bump for you, my friend. Oh, look, I can actually do a fist bump with my right hand now. Look at that. I got the camera in a different place. Look, I can do this, and the camera doesn't shake anymore. So I finally fixed that after 400 years of doing it poorly. So there you go. That's why everything looks closer. We've had to move everything, but the camera doesn't shake anymore. Praise God. Let's see. Roofer Busher might get hot. Let's see. Those RFK Fords are just unstoppable. I ran about this. Chevy is toast. RFK has had an under-the-radar good season. There's no doubt about that, which I don't know how they've had an under-the-radar, but nobody's really talking about it. Quattro, appreciate you too, my friend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Quattro. Let me see here. Yep, there we go. Let's see. Okay, so I never liked Chevy except the '69 Camaro. Now Rowdy is in a bow tie, says Gina. So she is through and through a Lexus lady or a Toyota girl, whichever one you want to go with there, Gina. Chevy has so much data, and Hendrick has the data from Garage 56 as well. Yeah, that's for sure too. They got some extra data there too, but they did have to share that data from the Garage 56 with everybody else. So good on Denny Hamlin for speaking up and getting that for him. What's up, Bruce? Says one wise guy. I can't believe my Bama boys are still in it, says Dirty Death. Yeah, look, Bama's on a run, man. They have got a tall task in front of them with UConn, so good luck to you. I feel like UConn is just really good. So hopefully you guys can upset them, though. Unless you're a UConn fan. I mean, I don't have a dog in the fight. I mean, go NC State. They're ACC. I like that DJ Burns kid that they got. That guy is a trip, man. That guy's pretty funny. Even as a Duke fan, I was cracking up at some of the stuff he was doing during the Duke game. He's a pretty big personality. I always love Ford. I always love Ford, says Gina Allison. Okay. So she's a Ford lady as well. I thought you were a Lexus lady, but it's all good. I'm up now, says Bruce. What's up, Bruce? Glad to have you back up and with us. Let's see. Did you see Brock Beard's solution to Bushwhacker? I did not. I'll have to go back and look at that. So I'm not familiar with what you're talking about there. As long as nothing happens to my King Chastain, then I could care less, says Quattro. Ross is going to be in line for a win here soon too. He's another guy that's under the radar, having a really good season. With Martin Truex Jr., his spotter is in his ear too. Says Duke Chronic. Roman biography was good, Bruce. The Roman Reigns I think is what you're talking about. SVG hinted at using the clutch in the Xfinity car is a huge advantage compared to the Cup car because it is because of the transaxle. So there you go. Let's see here. I agree with how you feel about the race, BB. I appreciate you there, one wise guy. That was really good. Harley Race, Dark Side of the Ring tonight. Harley Race is an interesting character. Not at all a good dude, I'll just be honest with you, but definitely an interesting biography on Harley Race. No manufacturer has more data than Ford, says Duke Chronic. Nice Quattro, says one wise guy. Yeah, without a doubt. Appreciate you looking out there, Quattro. I'm with Kenny Wallace, leader on the front row by themselves. Then 2x2 maybe, says David. Yeah, that would be cool too. Like that would be an interesting way to do it. Richmond was a nap time race. I took a nap for half the race. Yeah, they ruined the flow of the race with all that early caution and nonsense they had going on. LOL at Roofer, says Duke Chronic. That's why NASCAR should change their name to NAPCAR. Get Kenny Wallace on the show, BB. I'll tell you what, if I run into him, Marcus Richmond, who's just up the road here, that's who Kenny Wallace runs late model stuff. He usually runs for Marcus. So if I ever bump into him, I'll talk to him and ask him. Let's see. Gina Allison. Marcus Richmond used to be, I think, I know for sure Ty Dillon. I think he was also Noah Gregson's crew chief for engineer and trucks. So Marcus has done a lot of stuff. He's been with RCR. He's been with KBM. Marcus has had he had a pretty long career in racing before he went and became a late model chassis manufacturer. Interesting guy. He would actually probably be a pretty good one to have on the show. I need to talk to Marcus and see if he wants to talk to me. The Cup car needs to be overhauled. It's fundamentally broken thanks to its dirty air issues, bad gear ratio, lack of horsepower. Yeah, I agree. Those are all legit issues. 100%. Let's see. What's the numbers for Sunday? Real quick, I'll give you the. Oh Lord, what was that? Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll give you a quick rundown. Joey Logano, best average finish 5.2. Ryan Blaney 6.2. Kyle Larson 0.8. Willie B 8.8. Eric Almirola not a race at 9.5. Mark Truex Jr. at 10.3. Chase Elliott at 10.8. Denny Hamlin 11.2. Christopher Bell 11.3. Chase Briscoe 12.7. Ross Chastain 13.3. Chris Buescher, Bubba Wallace, and Kevin Harvick, who's not in the race, but Josh Berry is. Round out your looks like top 15 or so here, maybe top 11 or 12 from driversaverages.com. So there you go. Those are your average finishes there. Those are your early numbers. NC State did good, says Duke Chronic. Yeah, NC State, without question, on a tear. 11th seed. They won the ACC tournament. They haven't lost a game since March started, if I'm not mistaken. Gina said, I am a Lexus lady. So there you go. She is a Lexus lady. It is confirmed. I thought I remembered correctly, but then you said something you like Ford, so you threw me off there. Let's see. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection. There you go. She's a 2013 GS 350 all-wheel drive Lexus. And what's the name of that car there, Gina? Everybody, you got to name your car. It's bad luck. I know you got a name for it. Same race it's been for the last 5 years, says Troy. Yeah, so Richmond, once again, didn't change. That's for sure. Chrome Diesel, I agree. Says Gina. Lexus cars are a pain to work on, says Roofer. Maybe on the electronics, but I feel like, I don't know, all the Toyota, I haven't worked on a Lexus. I should be fair to that conversation. All the Toyotas I've worked on have been really easy to work on. That's actually why I like Toyota and Honda. They're super easy to work on. Chevrolet trucks before like 20, 2013 or 2014. They're easy to work on. Back when they sort of had the cat eye look to them, those are easy to work on. And a couple of the generations after that are easy to work on too. But then when they got to the 2018, like I got, the engineers laid that out in asinine ways. Changing the air filter is and the cabin filter is harder than it should. It's not hard, but it's harder than it should be. Let's see. Jack Hawksworth drives a Lexus, but Chevys used to be pretty easy to work on as well. Let's see. Ford has a lot of electrical problems, but in general, if you get the 250s and up, and I'm talking about the vans and the trucks, they're pretty easy usually to work on, with the exception of the diesels. The diesels are laid out in such a manner that sometimes it's easier to just lift the chassis off the frame to work on some of their diesel configurations. So I'd stay away from a diesel, but that 5.4 Triton they got, aside from that 1 3 or 4 year span where they had the spark plug issue, those Fords are pretty easy to work on. You don't have a lot of room though because of their overhead cam stuff on some of those deals. Anyway, I'm rambling. Ford trucks, says Gina Allison. Nice, there you go. We're just talking about Ford trucks. Guys in the NASCAR Weekly Podcast said get Baloney Burger to fill in for Black Flags Matter. Maybe they will one day. I don't know. They know what they're doing over there, but if they ever need my help, they know I got their back. I'll do anything to help them. They're all good dudes for sure. Every last one of them. I like to see State upset South Carolina, says Mark Barnum. Wouldn't that be a final too? NC State versus South Carolina. That would be pretty crazy. Let's see. Easier. Oh no, they're playing each other. I thought they were playing. Oh, you're talking about the women's. I got you. You're talking about the women's game. I got you there, Mark Barnum. Let's see. Easier than BMW because they're playing that tall dude, Zach Edey in Purdue, which as soon as Zach Edey walks onto the court, that's going to be like 4 fouls on NC State. No offense, Purdue fans, but he gets a lot of calls there. It's unfortunate. And I say that as a Duke fan, so I fully willingly say that as a Duke fan. Also a Yankees fan, also a San Francisco 49ers fan. So tell me another team to pull for so I can become even more unlikable sports-wise. Easier than BMW, which had the N4 Lexus, says Gina, which you had before the Lexus. BMWs. I had a Mini Cooper. That they were. I will confirm. The BMWs I've worked on have been a pain in the butt. Now, some of the 3 Series BMWs are pretty easy to work on once you take all the crap off of them and make them race cars. Let's see. Here comes those Fords this week. I'll tell you what, though, the BMW Straight 6, that engine will run forever. Here comes those Fords this weekend, says Roofer. Roofer might be the front fender flares, says Duke Chronic. I don't know why I'm defending this car. LOL, the inside, she is so yummy, says Gina. Matt Foley lives in a van down by the river. Hey, there you go. He lives in a van down by the river. He's a motivational speaker, and he doesn't wash regularly. That is Matt Foley. RFK Fords are incoming, and with the RFK's on it. They're going to get them. They're going to get them a win before it's over with. Hopefully it's Brad Kay getting the win this year as well, along with his teammate Chris Buescher. And the last name of Allison, wow, says William Wagaman. The car is all black leather, white stitching, low miles. Pretty car, says Gina. Yeah, Lexus very rarely makes an ugly car. And they do a good job with their interior stuff for sure. Smash or pass on Caitlin Clark. Well, I'm too damn old, so I'm going to pass. Wow, you a Duke fan? Shaking my head. I go to JMU. Sorry about your luck, my friend. But was there any doubt that we were going to beat y'all? I mean, I'm not trying to be like that, but I'm going to be like that. Like Duke's always pretty good in basketball. Look, JMU had a great season though, man. Like what you guys are building over there, as long as you can keep your head coach for a long period of time, I think you've actually got a really bright future over there. But hopefully they can keep that head coach. And the way things trend now, where you can get transfers and stuff like that, I wouldn't be surprised to see JMU make another deep run, get to a Sweet 16, get to an Elite 8 next year, as long as they can keep everything together. Duke always wins, says Gina. Not anymore. When we had Coach K, we always won. I think John Shire is going to do decent, but I don't know. He's probably got a few more years before he comes into his own, if he ever comes into his own. But he's off to a pretty good start. But he's not Coach K level just yet. He signed with Vanderbilt. Oh God, I feel like a total ass for saying that now, man. I'm sorry about that, dude. He signed with Vanderbilt the day after, and half the team left with him. Oh my God, that's even worse, dude. Dang, that sucks, bro. Well, hopefully you guys get some. Hey, don't rebuild, reload. Go out and get you some other guys. That sucks, man. I hate that, dude. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. I like the Virginia Cavaliers, says Gina. Virginia's got a good. They've Tony Bennett. He's done a great job since he's been there. They just run a really good system where you don't even necessarily need great athletes, so they can just they don't have to get these 5-star recruits and stuff like that because the system they run and the defense that they play it's so difficult to beat them. They basically play possession, ball control basketball, which not everybody appreciates. But I tell you what, it makes every rebound, it makes every possession count, and it puts pressure on the other team's offense. You see teams that never get enormous, that never get nervous running these high-powered offenses. You see them get nervous against Virginia because they know every possession counts because Virginia's going to milk that clock. It's an interesting way of playing basketball. Mike Fratello did it for the Cleveland Cavaliers in the early 90s when he was the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He did it too. He slowed the game down to an absolute grind. And a lot of people hated watching it. But with a team that was didn't have as many stars as some of the teams they were playing against, they just played really good team ball. And they made those other teams pay for taking lazy or bad shots. So as a I guess under horsepower team or whatever, it's actually a pretty smart way to play the game. Let's see. Ralph Sampson, remember him? I don't remember him. I know who you're talking about. I never saw him play, but he was my parents told me he was an absolute freak of nature. 100%. He played when I was alive. I just don't remember him playing. Like the first guys I remember playing were like, what was Crockett or something like that? It was like Chris Corciani for NC State, and Virginia had a point guard too. His name started with like a C, but he was the dude for Virginia at that time. And then Virginia after that had the dude that could shoot, the Alexander guys, and then they're before him. But I don't know. Yeah, there's definitely been some. The guy that does the commentating now, he was a Virginia player. I can't call his name. Really good shooter though. But yeah, Virginia's had some really good teams for sure. Laughing my butt off. I'm teasing, but yeah. I'm excited for the future, says Quattro. Let's see. No politics. Duke Chronic. Daily Driver. 2011 LS 460. 150K miles. My wife has a 2018 RX 350 Home Depot run truck. 05 Tundra with 236K miles. Toyota. Yep. Yeah, all of those look like they're just getting warmed up. Yeah, you hadn't even put any miles on them yet. So why don't you get out there and drive them some? Just joking there, Sonny V. But yeah, those things will run forever too, for sure. The V8 for Toyota, all the V8s that Toyota has ever made have been pretty solid. Ted was good at basketball. I'm a decent ball player. Courtney Alexander, that's the guy I was trying to think of. I'm a decent ball player, says Stupid Roofer. Tundra's rule, they run forever, says Gina Allison. Ralph Sampson played for Virginia at the same time. Patrick Ewing played for Georgetown. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like when I was growing up, I found out like way later in the game that Michael Jordan played at UNC because I remember Michael Jordan as a Chicago Bull. But he definitely played in the same era because he played against Johnny Dawkins. I just didn't remember it. So apparently I remembered it literally like the year after Jordan went to the pros or whatever is when I started remembering college basketball games. I'm a fan of Kyle Busch, Old Rowdiness, Denny Hamlin's School of Delivery Driving. Martin Truex Jr. School of Dominating Races, and in my house there was no option. You were going to be a Duke fan, or you were going to go live somewhere else. So it was that serious. My dad picked his sort of a morbid story, but my dad picked his gravestone so that he had a view of Duke Chapel when he was making that decision there. It was he was as far as diehard fans go, you weren't going to find a more diehard fan than him. So Duke was never in question. Yes, regarding Ralph Sampson, says Gina. Yeah, Ralph definitely was the Virginia. He was the biggest player at Virginia for a long period of time. I still don't think he's really been surpassed by anybody that went to Virginia since, as far as being an all-star. I think the big thing with him was they lost to Chaminade in the Maui tournament. That was always the big thing. Like Ralph Sampson, the greatest player in the world, got beat by Chaminade, the underdog, in the Maui Invitational. That was like a big story that they always told. But I didn't see that game or remember it. But I just remember reading about it in Sports Illustrated, which apparently now has gone bankrupt as well. So I don't know. Getting old. Getting old. Why did they stop writing the engine size on the car like they did back in the day? Says one wise guy. As far as NASCAR goes, they stopped doing it because they're all the same size engine now. Back in the day, they had different size engines. So that was part of it. College basketball, the next step is the NBA. Y'all know who Grayson Boucher is, says Stupid Roofer. I can't call him. Iowa is a high-speed basketball run or lose, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, there's a place for that too. So the other way of doing it when you're underpowered is Nolan Richardson and Rick Pitino, where you go as fast as possible. You play full court defense. You go all out effort for the whole time. So that's also the other way of doing it. 7'4", I think he was, says Gina. Yeah, he's a big dude. I was a Leafs fan when I was born. No cups in my lifetime. Oh, that's terrible, man. That's terrible. Yeah, some people live their whole lives and never see their favorite team win, which is unfortunate. I've been super lucky. All of mine have won, except for the Seattle Supersonics, who no longer exist. So all of my main teams that I pulled for growing up have won a championship, except the one that no longer exists. One wise guy in my lifetime, I should say. One wise guy because the sponsors wanted off the cubic inch sauce because of their lettering. I was an Alabama and Texas football fan when I was younger. Then they rejected my application to go to their schools, so I hate them now. Says Quattro. Hey, that's part of the game, my man. Hey, that's part of going to college. You just become wherever you go to college, that becomes your team. I went to a bunch of colleges, so I've got a rotation of colleges that I can pull for as well. And I used to work at Duke too, so that's another thing. I always joke around with people like, because that's like a big thing. Some people like try to throw up sometimes. You didn't even go to Duke. How come you pull for them? I was like, well, I didn't go to Duke. They actually paid me to work for them. So instead of Duke and pulling for them that way, Duke paid me. So I pulled for them. So I like to throw that back at them from time to time. So BB, I asked the other night about who takes over the two-ride when Denny and Martin retire. My video got cut off. So what is your prediction? Who will take over the 11 and the 19? Thanks, says Ben Kluber. I think Corey Heim is going to take over for one of those spots, whoever retires first. And as far as what it's looking like right now, I would say Chandler Smith. I say Corey Heim because he's in the Toyota commercial, so you know he's going to be the next man up at Toyota. And I would say if they take it from the Xfinity Series, it's going to be Chandler Smith. There's also a chance Chandler Smith goes to Legacy and John Hunter Nemechek goes over there to 2311 or I'm not 2311, but to Joe Gibbs Racing. So it'll be some combination of that. But I feel fairly confident that Corey Heim is going to be the next guy over there. If I had to guess, Maui Tournament locals got the mainland teams to party like crazy, and we're not ready to come play come game time, says Sonny V. That's hilarious. That's a great strategy. Sonics will be back, says one wise guy. I hope so, man. There's a dude on I'm not on Facebook anymore, but back in the day there used to be a dude called Save the Sonics or something like that, or Bring Back the Sonics. He's a comedian in the Seattle area. He's doing great stuff. So shout out to him and save our Sonics, bring them back. Damn, this is still going. Just talking to my uncle in Texas. Hamlin sucks, says Steve and one, the professor. Yeah, I think he's a Seattle guy, if I'm not mistaken. I love the Sonics. I'm from Seattle, old Seattle. LOL, not now, says Gina. Yeah, old Seattle was a vibe, man. Like Kurt Cobain, the grunge music era. For sure. I don't know about New Seattle. I haven't been out there. My buddy who does the graphic design stuff and is Gen Z. He actually likes New Seattle. So I don't know. I have to get out there sometime. 2015 Ford Taurus SHO daily driver, 1994 Mustang Cobra summer toy. And Bruce Reed, it's a pretty car. We've seen it on Discord. He showed it in Discord several times. Good looking Jelly Bean Mustang. I had a black one like that, but yours has mine by the throat and is stomping on it. Let's see. Remember the band, the Presidents of the United States of America, the Supersonics. Oh, yeah. Going to the country, going to eat a lot of peaches. Gina, I do remember that band. Great video, great music video to that song, too. So, yeah. And Pearl Jam, they took a Mookie Blaylock trading card, and I think Mookie was playing for the Sonics at the time. The original name of Pearl Jam was Mookie Blaylock because of that trading card, but they changed it, obviously, because they didn't want to get sued by Mookie Blaylock, who later was like, well, I'm actually flattered by it. I wish they had kept the name. So it's a pretty good story there. I think Jesse Love gets the 3-car, says T-Van. Could be. Austin Hill has to be in the running for that, too. Fords are coming. Says Bruce Reed. I don't disagree with you. I think they're right there. I love the Taurus SHO. They've actually never made a Taurus SHO that wasn't either like wicked fast or just really cool looking. So I will say that all the SHO stuff Ford does is actually really good looking stuff. Waterboy for Duke. JP says, Aeon. Let's see. I'll tell you what, man, it gets you into Cameron for free. It probably isn't like a bad gig. And Duke has great benefits. I will tell you that. I had Ray Allen Supersonics jersey, dude. I had the Ray Allen, outgrew it, and I've got Sean Kemp and I've got Gary Payton. Those are the two that I've still got. So hopefully they last until they get another team back. Let's see. Gina Allison, it rocks. Jesse Love is great, but he might need to stay in Xfinity for a couple more years. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Will Jade go to trucks or stay on dirt? I think she's going to. She'll go probably to Xfinity. She might skip over trucks altogether. Gina Allison throwing up the presidents of the United States, the Peaches song there. Who's the most famous person you met? Says Quattro. Oh God, that's a good question. Let me think on that for a second. Remember the Slick Watts playing for the Supersonic? Dude, Slick Watts was a great name. I met Mookie Wilson, Duke Chronic. Let's see. 6 Thunderbird, SCs. Yeah, they're super cool for sure. The Turbo Coupes, the body style, maybe 2 or 3 body styles before that. The 4-cylinder Turbo Coupes, based on the Fox body or whatever. Mark Tremonti here. Super Coupes were awesome too, says Bruce. Quattro, I met and shook hands with Dale Earnhardt Sr. Starter Sonics. A starter Sonics jacket would be cool. They definitely were cool back in the day. And that's actually the reason I started pulling for them. I just like the uniform, the green and the gold. It was the old school uniform, the original one, not the one they went to the finals in. That was a cool one too. But the one they had right before that, that was so awesome. The one after that was really cool too. It became symbolic of the '90s. The Sonics championship or going to the finals uniform. Kyle Busch, Rowdy, the most famous, says Gina. I met Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise, says Bruce Reed. Jimmy Johnson is up there. I love those T-Birds. For me, it's probably Oscar De La Hoya, the boxer, or Wiz Khalifa. Any diecast you think of getting this year? Noah's had some good ones. I'm really, really leaning on getting one of those Ross Chastain Busch cars. I'm thinking he's going to win in that car, though, so I'm kind of holding out. There's been a few, man. But I'm trying to stay away from it. I'm trying to go more old school on the diecast, but not the new diecast, I guess I should say. I'm not focusing on any new diecast. There might be a few old ones I'm getting to. I'm building a different studio for streaming eventually. Don't get your hopes up anytime soon. But that's going to be decked out with some different a different look. Not as busy as the converted storage room of diecasts that this is. Let's see. My father and uncle worked in the motion picture industry, met a bunch of stars, but those were the coolest dudes. I'll tell you what, probably, I don't know who's the bigger star. I guess it depends on what era or whatever you look at. But me and my uncle went to a car show, and I met David Hasselhoff and got his autograph. And I also met Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was there with the Batman car or something like that. And it was like a shaking hands, meet and greet. I've met every Duke player that's ever played up until 2015, I want to say. So if you consider them more famous, I guess it just depends on what. I've met Richard Petty. I feel like he, at one time, was the most famous race car driver in the world. I don't know who's the most famous person I've ever met. I've met some cool people, though. I've always, if I've met Eric Estep, I've talked to him. I guess he's got like the most subscribers of anybody I've ever met. It just depends on how you judge it or whatever. I don't know. Let's see. Always tough for me choosing diecast, says In Between the Lanes. I also met Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray, that's a cool one right there, Gina. Let's see. Jimmy Johnson is a pretty cool guy. Do y'all know who Mark Tremonti is? Says Roofer, I feel like he played in a band, but I could be totally wrong about that. He sounds like he's one of the guys from a band. I just can't call the band off the top of my head, but I could be totally wrong. Uncle was probably cooler, says Duke Chronic. Best Batman by far. I agree with that 100%, Wise Guy. That Batman movie right there, in my opinion, is the reason we got all the other superhero movies. Bruce Reed saying definitely Keaton the best Batman. I met Barbara Mandrell back in the day. I've met Ken Trader, Matt Kenseth's wife, Katie. And I'm sure there are a few more. I did meet Rusty Wallace, and I got his autograph on one of his hats. I met like I don't know. I've met like several race car drivers. So like I've been going to races for a long time. So I don't know. There's a ton of them. I met Ricky Rudd, Darrell Waltrip, Joey Logano. Oh man, I don't know. I don't even want to get down this rabbit hole. Several race car drivers, and every race car driver I've ever met has been pretty super nice. So it's actually a really cool sport as far as that goes. Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson, met them. They're actually really cool guys. As much as I hate to give a UNC guy credit, I saw Jerry Stackhouse at a Down East Wood Ducks game in Kinston, and I didn't talk to him because he was over there hanging out with his family, but he was being super cool to his fans. So I'll just go ahead and tell you, Jerry Stackhouse is definitely a nice guy in real life. My buddy that works at Blazing High Performances, he built a car for